Hey, it's Terrie Carr, and thanks for checking out my web series, New Rockers, Classic Rockers. They all come by to hang and chat. This week, I'm excited to welcome the Red Rocker, Sammy Hagar. We talk about his brand new tune, Encore, Thank You, Goodnight, inspired by Eddie Van Halen. Dreams, more residencies, and taking part in the Ozzy Back to the Beginning final concert. Let's go. So I am with him, the Red Rocker. I'm so happy to see you. The last I saw you, I think we did a radio industry thing in California.
Was that like down in San Diego or something like that?
It was, and I was mad at you for like 2 seconds because you made me do 2 shots of the beach bar rum, and then we go do the interview.
Oops.
And I was literally, I mean, it was great, but I was like, I wanted to put on my best face for Sam. And I'm like, oh my God, I just did 2 shots of the beach bar rum. I hope I can get through it. But I did, and it was awesome. And we had the best time. So it's great to see you again.
Yes, yes. I remember it was like, I think I took a train down there because of traffic, and it was some kind of a convention anyway. And I remember this, and that was when I was launching my Sammy's Beach Bar Rum thing. And if you did a couple shots with me, or at least a couple of drinks of it, then I'm guilty as charged, I'm sure, because
We
that was
did
my
2
MO.
shots. Yeah.
That was my MO at that moment in time.
Super fun, but it was super fun, and it was just a great time. So today I'm scrolling through, I don't know if it was Facebook, Insta, whatever, and the algorithm picks up your photo with Brian Wilson, Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony. And I see this in my feed, knowing that I'm going to talk to you. It was an 80s photo. And before we get going, because I was going to start by saying Hagar hands are never idle. There's so much to talk to you about. But what a sad day. We lost Sly. Now we lost Bry. And that photo comes up for me today because, you know, I'm fans of both of yours on social media. And I was like, holy, how weird is
Wow.
this? Yeah.
Yeah, that's cosmic, man. I got goosebumps. Here you go. Here you go. Got
Yep.
My fur is up. Look at it. Wow, that's
Yeah.
spooky. That's
Yeah.
because yeah, Hannah, my publicist, just sent me a note saying Brian just passed. I thought, oh my God, not enough. Right behind Sly Stone. I mean, wow. I mean, those are two two musical geniuses, man. Ooh, that's bad news. But I got to tell you, that's the whole thing about my song that I wrote, Encore, Thank You, Goodnight, about Eddie. It's like when people pass, the first thing you have this shock, oh, it's terrible, and then later on you start realizing, well, wait a minute, I'm never going to see that person again. Wait a minute, I'm not going to hear any new music from that person again. Wait a minute, I'm not going to, like with Eddie, I can never write a song with Eddie again. And that's really kind of after I had that dream where that was the dream I had for writing that song was a couple years ago. It was about a year after Eddie passed. And the reason I finished it now is that I just, woke up one day and thought, I'm never going to write a song with Eddie Van Halen again. This is crazy because it's just all, things like that just dawn on you. And, you know, boy, seeing all these guys check out, it's just inevitable, I guess. But man,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna live. I'm gonna make a promise here. I'm gonna live to be well over 100. So don't
We
worry about
believe
me.
that. Oh, we
Oh yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
we
Don't worry
believe
about me.
that. Well,
But we can.
when you had the vision of Ed in a Dream, and you've often spoken about how you and dreams are very connected, obviously beyond the song, in your book, you talked about it. And I've seen interviews with you where you're like, hey, I'm partying with Jim Morrison. I'm partying with this one. I'm partying, hanging out
Totally.
with that one. And they're always very vivid. So when Ed comes to you in a dream, um, I mean, that has to be, what do you feel, when you wake up beyond inspiration? Because that's got to be something that doesn't leave you right after you wake up. That has to stay with you for a while.
I feel pure joy when I wake up after dreaming about someone I love, like my mother, my brother, my father, Eddie Van Halen, other people that I knew. Uh, it's wonderful. I mean, the feeling I had after I woke up from that dream with Eddie was really special because every time I dream about Eddie or anyone, like I said, it's always, oh my God, you acknowledge that you haven't seen them in a long time, but you don't acknowledge that they've passed. So it's a very strange thing. It's kind of like, oh man, I miss you so much. I haven't seen you in so long. A big love, big hug, it just feels so heartwarming.
Yeah.
And then the second you acknowledge, oh, wait a minute, Eddie's gone, boom, that dream is over. And then you get pissed off about it. You wake up and go, damn, that was so awesome. I had to go and ruin it by thinking, wait a minute, you're not alive, you know? And that happens to every person I that has passed that I dream about. The second I acknowledge it, my mother, my father, it doesn't matter who it is, they're gone. I mean, I have dreams with Elvis Presley, but see, I didn't know Elvis Presley, so it's different.
Yeah.
I didn't know Jim Morrison, so it's different when you dream about those people. You're thinking, "Oh, this is really cool. I'm hanging out with Elvis," you know. And then, but when it's someone you know, like Eddie Van Halen, someone you spent years and years with, making great music and being friends and fighting and everything else, you know.
Hmm.
When you that's those dreams, when you wake up, you just sit there and just savor it.
Yeah.
But the dream about the song, I jumped up and grabbed a guitar and a pad and a pencil.
Yeah.
Needless
Yeah.
to say.
And how long until you talked to Satch? How long till you got in touch with Joe to tell him about this? And then, of course, Joe, who's so Joe, still
Yeah.
wants the essence of Eddie, but his Jonas still has to be there. So that's tricky. That's
Jonas.
very tricky, right?
Yeah, he's one of the Jonas brothers. There you go. His Jonas. His
The
Jonas
original
was
Jonas, the
his
senior
Jonas
Jonas.
is all over that song. You know, you're 100% right. Joe is just one of those kind of guys. He can't play exactly like someone else because he's got so much style himself, and he's
And he
so
doesn't want to. Like he's
no,
not,
yeah,
that's not what he's
no.
aspiring to do on any piece of
No.
music.
And he's so good, he can just do anything. The guy's just prolific as hell too. But no, the reason I took so long to play it for Joe, because I wasn't thinking about finishing it. I just had these verses and these choruses, and I didn't have all that crazy music that Joe wrote around it, which what Eddie would have done. And I didn't tell Joe until we were on the Best of All Worlds tour last summer. And then I said, you know what? I got to tell you something. And I told him the story, and he goes, "Wow!" And I showed him the lick, and I said, "What do you think about that lick? Do you think that's something Eddie would have written?" Because it's what he showed me in the dream, and he goes, "Oh yeah, that's all over Eddie, man." He goes, "That's all about Eddie. You know, he's hitting a harmonic and ramming it up to the next a step up to a hard chord. You know, it's ching, and it's such a weird lick, and nobody's ever heard Eddie do that. I go to some of like Steve Lukather. I said, Luke, when I first started writing this song, I said, Luke, have you ever heard Eddie play this song? He goes, no. He goes, but it sounds like something he would do. Everybody I knew, I went to them and said, confirm that this is Eddie's lick.
And
But
Steve Lukather would know. Steve Lukather
oh
knows. Yeah,
yeah, him and Eddie were
they were
tight.
very
Yeah,
bonded, and Luke's played on like every, how many records, like thousands and thousands. I mean, so Steve Lukather is a great person for you to ask about that. And Satch made some special kind of, noodling, tinkering to make sure that he really got that kind of vibe on the song right.
yeah. Well, Joe, and as soon as I told him the story and played him my original, when I woke up from the dream, I actually turned on my little tape recorder on my iPhone and I recorded the stuff and I sang into it and I played him all that stuff. And he's going, wow, wow. So Joe got super inspired. And when you inspire a guy with his talent, he comes up with stuff like that intro and the bridge and, the B section of the verses that I don't know. He just man, Joe killed it. I mean, if it wouldn't have been for Joe, I would have never finished that song. How about that? There's
Yeah,
a statement
yeah,
for you.
yeah. It's an incredible, just an incredible, incredible piece of music. So,
Yeah,
all right. So we've
I
got
feel good
Encore.
about
Thank
it.
You, Goodnight is out. The residency was amazing. People are talking about now there's going to be maybe another residency, which I think would be
I
really
hope
cool.
so.
A lot of people in
I
Jersey, we're heading out to Sammy's res. Oh, we're going out to Sammy's res. Oh, going out to Sammy's res. Everybody wants to go to the residency. So maybe there will be another one. That would be kind of cool.
Oh, for sure. I'm banking on it that we will do another one like next year and maybe two. Like 6 and 6, 2 weeks and 2 weeks instead of
Ooh.
doing 3 weeks in a row. Nothing wrong with doing 3 weeks in a row. It just spread it out so that I can spread out my year and have a little more fun. The crazy thing is that residency was in the old days when you would say you're gonna play Vegas, it'd be like, oh boy, you're done. That's the retirement plan is to
No
go to play
more.
Vegas. Now, if you don't get offered a a residency, you're nobody. It's like
Absolutely.
it cracks me up.
1000%. And people are making road trips. They're making events.
Yeah.
Who's going out for the birthday? Who's going out for this? I see it all. I see it all the time. I see it with our listeners. People booking trips here and there. Your birthday bash. People were pissed off. I can't get in. It's sold out. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's
So
only 600 seats, man. That's a different. I could do a residency. I could do about a 10-year
you
residency in
should do a
Cabo.
5 year. That would be amazing. Now wait, you've got even more coming up because you're part of, I don't even know what to call it anymore. It's the Back to the Beginning Ozzy final performance mega show, Villa Park on the 5th of July in, as Ozzy calls it, Birmingham. So you're going to Birmingham. And
Yes.
you were one of the first people that musical director Tom Morello, he had his list of like the first list, and you
Yeah,
were
I
on
was on
that
the.
first list of. Oh, so what was it like when you got that call? Did you think it would turn into this mega event, or did you think it was just going to be a couple of people?
Oh, even when I was asked, there were already, about 10 or 12 people. And I thought, I don't know how they're going to pull this off. Now I go, and I don't know how they're going to pull this off. I was flattered when they asked me, and I know why they asked me. I was at the Hall of Fame induction I inducted Foreigner into the Hall of Fame, and then I performed one of their songs, Hot Blooded. No, what did I say? Yeah, Hot Blooded.
Yeah,
And then after that, Ozzy was inducted, and so they were sitting there watching me do the induction and perform, and I'm sitting there looking at Sharon, smiling. I'm up there, trying to. They got the Osbourne family. They had a gang of people at a table. I actually performed to them because they were so fun. They were digging it, and I'm sure they just immediately said, "Yeah." As soon as they booked that show, let's get Sammy. He's fun. They want to pull this thing off with a really good vibe and have a bunch of fun-loving people that doing it. The hardest thing to do is put a gang of folks together and having people that don't get along. I think they're going to make this quite the love fest, and I'm honored to be there. It's going to be
yeah,
great.
as it should be. And you
Yeah,
originally had the idea of doing, I think, No More Tears,
yeah,
and then that kind of veered into something else for you because I think Oz is going to take a stab at that.
yeah. That's the way it was, and we'll see. A couple of weeks ago, Morello came back, and Tom said, hey, if you still want to do No More Tears, you can probably do it. And I said, look, I'll be ready to do whatever you
You're
want me to
ready.
do.
Sammy's
There you go.
Sammy's ready to do anything. Sammy's just like, give him the mic, give him the
There you
cue.
go.
Where does he got to be and go? And I think of regardless of whether or not anybody was in a band with Ozzy or has a connection to Ozzy, I think that day is going to be a very emotional day because I
Oh
think
my God,
looking
yeah.
around and just knowing that's a once in a lifetime experience that you will never be able to experience again with all of these people from different genres of rock music and eras, and Wolfgang's gonna be there, so you get to see Wolfgang, who you've known since before he was in utero, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna be a very, very emotional day, I would imagine.
I think so too. I think it's going to be like really a happy fest. Like I said, I can't imagine. They just put out a memo to everyone a couple days ago that I got that said, this is going to be an 8-hour all day event. We recommend everyone get there in the beginning and stay till the end. And and I just thought, wow, what a nice invitation. Like, don't just come and do your thing and leave. But I think the half the reason they want everybody there is because nobody knows when they're going to go on.
That's
I think
true.
it's going to be everybody's going to be gathered around the stage in the backstage area. This is going to be real close to the stairs to go right up to the stage, I'm sure. And they're going to all of a sudden say, you got some guy yells backstage, Sammy, you're next.
You're up, Hagar. Get on the stage
Yeah,
following, and
I can't
I think
wait to
it's going to
hear
be
that.
a cool group of people who it doesn't matter who follows who. Like, I don't think
Oh
any of that
no,
BS is
hell
going to
no.
be there. I think it's just going to be everybody moving towards a beautiful, beautiful vibe together that day.
Yeah, well, you say that nobody cares about who follows who or who. It ain't about trying to say I'm the headliner. Or I'm going to go on this and that. But believe me, there's plenty of people on that show that I don't want to follow.
And some great the younger bands. I think
It-
you and me talked in California. And I don't know if you remember it, but we talked about Rival Sons and how
oh
great they
yeah,
are. So it's going to be so awesome to have them there. There's so many great young bands coming on this fest.
yeah. I know a lot of those people too. The Rival Sons. They did a little couple month tour with me, and they did the whole world tour with Ozzy. They're going to fit real good on the bill. I mean, it's great. I mean, we got you got Guns N' Roses, man. You got Metallica. You
Metallica,
got
Guns N'
Tool. Come on
Roses,
now. These are like
everyone. Yeah.
these are bands that could fill that stadium on their own. Every one of them, and it's really, I don't know. It's so over the top. But what would you expect from Ozzy's last concert?
And I think it's beautiful too because they're doing a give back. So Cure Parkinson's and the
Oh yeah.
Birmingham Children's Hospital and Eghorns Children's Hospice are all going to be benefiting from this day. So I think that that's really a beautiful thing to do on that day. So what else? What else is coming up? So we've got this amazing single. We've got just Hagar World is always teaming. There's never a lot of prep I have to do for an interview with you because I go, well, Sammy's doing this, he's doing this, he's doing this. I'm good. I got three topics. Like you're always doing something.
Well, it's easy to just to put all my stuff on a wall and put the title of what this that Santo Tequila, Beach Bar Rum, blah 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 blah, the residency, and they just throw a dart and say, well, let's talk about that
What are we doing
because
next? Yeah, yeah. And
yeah,
you're
that's
always
because
having a good time though. I
oh, I
think
have
you've
to.
been that person who is still just always having a good time doing these things. And I think that that's what's kept you so relevant.
Well, I don't try to do anything for any other reason except for to have it be either to do something for others, like with my uh, foundation, Hagar Family Foundation. I do that to help others, but the everything else I do is just to have fun. It's and then it doesn't always turn out that way. Sometimes you bite off something, say, "Oh, this looks like fun," and you get in the middle and say, "Whoa, it's gonna be work." Hey, somebody else help.
But you
Yeah.
always pull it off.
Oh
Sammy,
yeah.
it's phenomenal to catch up with you. Thank you so much. Encore, thank you. Good night is just a beautiful full circle moment for sure. And I can't wait to see you again in person.
Thank you. That says it all.